In today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I was able to lose 10 kilos, actually keep it off, and give you some practical, tangible things that you can implement that can help you on your journey today. So let's get into it. Hello, you guys. Welcome back. If you're new here, hello, my name's Laura. I'm an exercise physiologist and accredited sports nutritionist, and I've been coaching women online for years now. And I am here to help you find balance with nutrition, exercise, and start seeing results in a sustainable way. So I've heard you've done keto, you've done 1200 calories, you've done low carb, and yeah, you've lost some weight. But as soon as the challenge ends, the diet's over, and you start eating normally again, the weight just creeps back on. And maybe now you're just feeling like you're just stuck in this cycle of losing weight, putting it back on like a yo-yo. And you're just getting so frustrated because it's just like you're in, you're out, you see your results, you don't see your results, and you just want to do things in a sustainable way. So if you are stuck in this cycle, know that you are not alone. I was stuck in this cycle for so long, and honestly, like being outside of it is just so freeing. So now I want to share my own experience with you so that you can start doing things in the right way so you can get your freaking life back. You can feel confident in your body, feel so good in your clothes, and not have to think about the freaking diet or the challenge that you're on. So this episode is not necessarily going to be about, eating in a calorie deficit, hitting your macros. Well, yes, of course, that is very important. We know if you have a goal of losing 10 kilos, you have to be eating in a calorie deficit. There's no question about it. And if you're thinking like a calorie deficit doesn't work for me, calorie deficit does work. It works for everyone. So therefore, it's just really important that you're making sure that you're getting your numbers right, because at the end of the day, it's science. Okay, so we know we need to be in a calorie deficit, and we know that we need to be nailing our macros. Why? Because yes, how much we're eating is important, but the quality of our nutrition is just as important. Because at the end of the day, like, nutrition is our health, and we need to be making sure we're fueling our body with the right macronutrients and micronutrients, so carbs, fats, and proteins. Also, we're going to see better results in the composition of our body if we nail those macros. So protein nice and high to maintain our muscle mass. So when we lose weight, it does come from body fat. Then our carbohydrates to making sure that we're giving our body that good energy source. And then our fats just for our overall health, our hormones, super, super important. So of course, that's what I did. I ate in a calorie deficit. I nailed my macros, and I was consistent, because essentially that's all you really need to lose body fat. So today I wanted to break down 5 lessons that I learned, because it's like one thing saying, yeah, like eating a calorie deficit, but it's another thing like actually practically doing it. And if it was that easy, then everyone would lose weight. And we know that that is just not the case. So I really hope that you can take away some practical things that I have learned from my own journey that you can start implementing today. So number one, and the biggest thing when it comes to dieting and eating in a calorie deficit, in my opinion, is being in integrity with yourself and being able to trust your word and actually following through on the things that you say that you're going to do. Because at the end of the day, eating in a calorie deficit is you have to be organized, you have to be accurate with your food, and you've got to be hitting the mark, because, just going over a little bit or, not meeting your nutritional needs is then you're not going to see the result that you want. Same with your movement, right? We need to make sure that, you're in that deficit. So that's going to come down to your calories in and your calories out. And if you're missing the mark on either side of the equation because you're not following through on the things you say that you're going to do, right? Like if you say, yeah, I've got a 10K step count and I'm not going out and doing those 10K steps, like, yeah, I say that I'm going to do it, but there's no follow through. Of course, you're not going to see the results that you want. So being able to trust yourself and trust your word is everything, because it's like, how many times have you said that you're going to do something, but yet you didn't do it? And this is the thing, because when it comes to dieting, it's like, it's all cool in the first couple of weeks, right? 3 weeks in, motivation's still high, 4 weeks in, but then week 5, week 6, week 7, like you get tired, you get exhausted, your period comes, right? There's all of these factors that impacts how you feel emotionally. So therefore, sticking to it does become harder. So it's in those times, it's like, what are you choosing? Who are you being? Are you following through on your word when you're stressed, you're tired, you're bored, your period's due, right? And that's really going to be the difference between you being successful or not, is really being able to follow through on your plan, on your word, even when the outside emotions are trying to get you to choose otherwise, right? Because there's going to be so many moments where you don't want to show up. There's going to be so many moments where you don't want to do your steps, where you don't want to go to the gym, where you don't want to plan your meals, prep your food, all of the things. But it's like you have a specific goal and that you have to align every single action with that goal. And if you don't, then of course, you're not going to reach that goal. Then you're probably going to be hard on yourself. You beat yourself up, and then you don't believe in yourself that you can do it. So that is lesson number one, is integrity. Integrity freaking everything, especially on a fat loss journey. Lesson number two is organization, and planning and prepping is literally everything, right? And guys, if you have a fat loss goal and you're not planning and prepping your food, what are you doing? Because essentially it's saving you time, it's saving you energy, it's saving you money, right? You spend, like for me personally, like I'll meal prep on a Monday. I spend, like an hour in the kitchen to make 4 meals at once. So I'm like, well, I cook once and I'm sweet for the rest of the week. I don't have to cook dinner every night. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be like stressing at work, being like, oh my God, what am I going to eat today? And I get it, because it's like, meal prep has made to be this big thing where you have to spend hours on the weekend, half a day meal prepping everything. Well, when it's not, that's not true, because, when you can really integrate it into your life, it becomes really seamless. It's literally like every time I cook one dinner, I cook 4 dinners. Easy, done, sorted, right? Because at the end of the day, like if you're not organized, you're not planned, you don't have that structure, then it's going to get to Wednesday, you're going to be tired, you're going to get home from work and you're just going to be like, I can't be fucked, I'm going to order Uber Eats. All of a sudden you're sabotaging your fat loss goals once again. Something I do religiously, you guys probably, I talk about this all the time, is I plan my meals. So I sit down and I plan my meals on a Tuesday. I use a spreadsheet, or sometimes I'll use a pen and paper. So all of the meals that I have made in this fat loss phase is literally, I put them together in a recipe ebook, the Look Like You Work Out cookbook. I find it's just like, it's so important to just have a really good resource whilst you're planning your meals, because then like I literally open up my phone, open up the cookbook, and I sit down and be like, sweet, I'm going to make that, I'm going to make that, I'm going to make that, write that down, write my grocery list, done, right? It saves me so much time, because I used to like just sit on TikTok or Instagram and like try and figure out the meals, and then I had to match it to my calories that I needed, and it was just like, it was such a time consuming process. Now literally in that cookbook, it's got the calories in it, it's got the macros in it, so I'm just like, sweet, I can just choose that, put that in, done, super easy. I'll link that cookbook down below if you guys want that resource, because it's just super, super helpful. So sit down, plan my meals. Literally on a Monday, I'll cook my lunches, and on Monday night, I'll cook my dinners, and that's that. Right? Because accuracy is like everything when it comes to a calorie deficit. And, a lot of people struggle with like weight loss in general. And a lot of the time it's because like they're not accurately tracking their food and being really super honest with sticking to the plan. Because, a mouthful here, at work, like all of those extra calories absolutely can add up. And that's why it's really, really important. That's why I love meal prepping, because it takes like that accuracy question out of it. Like, what you're putting in your meals every single week, and you just eat that, then it's like seamless. Like it's going to happen. You're going to see results because you're sticking to it. So that is lesson number 2, is you just got to be organized, and you got to like be accurate, and you've got to set yourself up for success. And whatever that looks like for you, and like for me specifically, that's, prepping 4 days and then 3 days, and just being really freaking organized. Now, lesson number 3 is, this one goes against a lot of people's advice when it comes to fat loss. So many coaches are being like, you can't eat out, you have to take your Tupperware containers out with you. And I completely disagree, right? As a full-time foodie, like food to me is so much more than just nourishment, right? Food to me is connection, it's love, it's spending time with the people that you care about. And, if you are taking that away because you're dieting, then what's going to happen is you're also taking that secondary gain that you're also experiencing from that experience. And this is why I'm so big on still enjoying your social life whilst you're dieting. Because, if you're not filling up your cup and you're not filling up your emotional needs, then it's really, really easy to then fall into an emotional eating pattern, because you're just overall not happy, and you can use food to self-soothe and, sabotage your goals. So that's why the lesson 3 is you still need to have a social life, but also hand in hand, like you need to making sure that you're filling your needs on a daily basis, prioritizing self-care, prioritizing your happiness, because everything is a lot easier when it comes to food and nutrition when you're in a good state of mind, when you're looking after your mental health, when you're prioritizing that, because it's going to be so much easier to stick to the plan. Like as an online coach, I see time and time again, one of the biggest reasons why women are not achieving their goals is because they lean on food for emotional reasons. But that's stress, that's boredom, that's, happiness, that's excitement, whatever it is. It's like, food is a part of everyone's life. So this is why we still need to have this. And, still enjoying your social life is really, really important as well, because like there was a time where I worked with a coach and he told me I wasn't allowed to eat out for the 12 weeks. And yeah, I lost weight then as well. I also was terrified of eating out again because I was like, well, I haven't been allowed to eat out. Now all of this extra calories and all of this food is going to make me gain weight, and I'm terrified of that, right? So this is why you have to learn how to have both. You have to be able to learn how to enjoy going out for a meal and being present and being intentional and not self-sabotaging your results and not falling into an all or nothing mindset. Like just don't be a dickhead about it. Essentially, it's like, obviously we can't have our cake and eat it too, but we can absolutely have one meal and not ruin our progress. It's that one meal that's going to help us stay on track with our goals. So that's the lesson in that, is you still need to be social. You still need to be filling up your cup. You still need to be having fun, because at the end of the day, it's like if you're not, then it's going to be next to impossible to stick to your nutrition plan. Because at the end of the day, it's about finding that balance where you can still enjoy your social life without overdoing it while still seeing results. Now, moving on to lesson number 4 is cardio is absolutely not mandatory. You do not have to spend hours doing cardio to drop body fat. And to be honest with you, during this fat loss phase that I've gone through, I didn't really do any cardio, especially at the beginning. Right? This is the misconception that we have, especially right now, because, it is the bodybuilder season. So there is a lot of bodybuilders, 10 weeks out from prep, and they're showing their protocols of what they have to do in order to lose weight. And a lot of them, I follow one, and it was actually wild what she was doing. It was like 12,000 steps, 5 cardio sessions of 40 minutes, and then who knows how low her calories was. But it's crazy to the extent of like movement and cardio that these people are doing in order to get a certain level of leanness. But this is where we see that, and therefore we think that's what we have to do, when that's actually not true, because their goals are going to be different to your goals, and that's where you have to be intentional. And this is why personalization is so freaking important, right? Because in order for you to drop 10 kilos, like you do not have to be doing 5 cardio sessions a week. Absolutely not. You just need to be nailing your nutrition, creating that calorie deficit, and then strength training so that you maintain your muscle as you lose body fat. So you look, toned and fit and lean. And that's what it has to be. You don't have to do these crazy movement protocols. You just have to slightly tweak your nutrition and slightly tweak your exercise so that you see a result, measure that, and then just keep going. And so this is where we just need to normalize. It's just like what we see online is not actual factual in terms of like what you guys need to be doing to lose those 10 kilos. Cardio can be great towards the end of a calorie deficit when, you hit a bit of a plateau, because it's inevitable when you are eating in a deficit, plateaus absolutely do occur. So that's where it's good to have cardio as a lever that you can pull towards the end of the deficit, so it can, so you can break through plateaus. But at the beginning, you absolutely do not need it. Like a step count, nailing your calories and your macros, and, going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week is absolutely enough. And that's all you need. So please don't make the mistake of thinking that you need to smash yourself and drop your calories really low, because essentially all that's going to do is going to make you rebound, because it's not going to be enjoyable. Your body is going to start suffer. You're going to put yourself under so much stress that's not actually needed. Losing body fat doesn't have to be this massive big thing where you smash yourself every day. And if you're probably doing that, it's probably why you're not losing it and keeping it off. And then the last lesson that I want to speak about today is just letting go and obsessing over the scale. Like, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see my clients make again and again and again and again, right? Movement on the scale in a fat loss phase is slow. it is going to be slow, right? And that is normal. Movement on the scale is also going to fluctuate, right? It is very, very normal for the scale to go like this, down and go up and then down and up and down, literally, right? And however, if you are someone who has a lot of emotional attachment to that number and it's gone down and then it has spiked up and you're like, oh my God, like I was making so much progress and now it's gone up and now I feel like what I'm doing is wrong and I have to eat less and maybe I have to move more, right? You sabotaging your plan because of that one data point on the number of the scale. When in reality, that fluctuation is normal and we expect to see that. So that's why it's really, really important that we are not hyper-focused on every single day and every single number, and we start looking at trends over time. So what that looks like is looking at week 1 versus week 2. Okay, cool. What is the trend? How much weight did I lose on the scale? Perfect, cool. Was that a drop? Was that in a deficit? Amazing. Let's keep going. No changes to the plan. Then, and again, measure it. Is it dropping on average week to week? Yes. If it's not dropping, okay, let's change something. Let's slightly decrease our calories, right? Let's slightly increase our movement. Let's make a small tweak and then measure it again. This is where we really have to put on our science hat. And this is where it can be really helpful to have like external accountability and help and someone else, because like when we're in it, right? And we're like, oh my God, and we start freaking out and then we're spiraling and then we're on the floor being like, oh my God, eating a block of chocolate. So it is really helpful to have like that external source of someone that you can lean on to being like, what do I do? Is this right? What do I need to change something? Or do I just need to keep going? And I love helping and supporting my clients through that because it's a roller coaster of emotions. But really the lesson is, you guys, we have to detach from the number on the scale. It doesn't tell us how much body fat we've lost. We can absolutely be in a calorie deficit with the scale not moving much at all, especially if you're eating enough protein and you've started strength training for the first time, right? Body recomposition is real, and building muscle is going to affect the scale moving. Also, water retention, how much salt you're having, how many carbohydrates you're eating, how much food volume is going through your digestive system, all affects that number on the scale. So it's really, really important that we really let go of that number, not make it mean something about ourselves, that we're failing, that we're doing something wrong, but utilizing it as strategic data for us to be like, sweet, I need to change something if we're not seeing the result that we want, or sweet, it is working, it's just fluctuating and it's spiking up and down because of one of the many reasons of why the scale fluctuates. So that is my lessons. I really, really hope that this can give you some practical advice of things that you can implement. And I really hope that you guys can see that, losing 10 kilos it really does come down to not being all in or all out with nutrition. And if you really want to start doing things in a sustainable way, it's like you just need to learn how to eat real food and eat normally. That's what I love to say. It's like right now, if I was in a deficit or if I was at maintenance calories, I would be eating exactly the same thing. I would be eating burgers, pastas, pizzas, like all homemade stuff, right? But then I would just be slightly tweaking the portion sizes for that to reach my calorie needs, right? So for an example, like I would have a burger as a fat loss or a maintenance food, but then I would just like, in a fat loss phase, I would have just cheese, but at maintenance I would have cheese and mayo, right? Like they're the small swaps that you really just have to make. They just have to be strategic. It just has to be intentional, because then that's how it's going to be sustainable, because you're eating real food, you're eating what you love to eat, but you're just changing around what your plate looks like in order to hit that specific goal at that specific time. I know, nutrition can be really overwhelming, especially when you're looking at everything online, but it actually gets to be really, really simple when you understand it from that principle level. So I really hope this helps. If this helped you, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it on your Instagram story, send me a DM, because I love hearing from you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you more than you know, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.